Hi everyone, it's Fiona from the Sandia Mountain Natural History Center. Today I'm down at the Southside Water Reclamation Plant run by the Albuquerque Bernalillo County Water Utility Authority. This tour was organized by the Sierra Club Rio Grande chapter, and we're getting a really good tour around the whole facility by Jeff Tuttle, the lead educator here.
65 people who work for the Water Authority here. The Water Authority employs about 700 people. I'm kind of the unicorn in the Water Authority with the education outreach. I am my own department, and we have 4 contract educators that are out now with the 4th graders at the river, out at the Rio Grande Nature Center.
Do you ever wonder what happens to the water after it runs down the drain or you flush the toilet? Where does your poop go? Maybe you haven't wanted to think about that before, but today it's your lucky day because you're going to find out where it all ends up. That water runs through pipes underneath the entire city. There's about 2,400 miles of sewer pipes underground. Eventually, those pipes connect with the Wastewater Reclamation Plant.
Right up here, if you look, you can see the 2 pipes with the purple boots on them. That's water coming in from the east side from 72-inch pipes. And on the left is water coming in from the west side.
They clean about 50 million gallons of wastewater here every day. First, they separate out the big stuff, like materials that might have gotten washed from a construction site into the sewer, or your mom's cell phone that she accidentally dropped in the toilet. What's up with these big silver saucers? Jeff explains to us that just like you might not want to live right next to a water treatment plant and smell all the lovely smells wafting off of it, the people in the community here needed them to bring down the smells a little bit. The Water Utility Authority agreed to that, and they built these big covers over them, which really reduced the smell to about nothing.
This is where the actual treatment begins. This is the first clarifier, right? And this is the very first step in the treatment of the organic process. The water spends about 168 minutes in this part of the process. But remember how we said 99% of what comes in is water and 1% is solid waste? This actually separates 99% of that 1%. I'm going to open it up, brace yourself, take a look in. You're going to see the perimeter where in the center of this, which we'll also walk to, and I'll open up the ports there, there's a motor that's just working to slowly turn some arms over the surface, and at the bottom there are blades that are moving the solid waste to the center that are matched by the arms on the top. So those are moving very slowly over the surface, and you're going to see the perimeter of the water is running over the weir at the perimeter, and there's all kinds of other stuff, and then once it overruns the weir, it goes on to the next process. Again, each of these is 1.6 million gallons, and there's 4 of these.
Inside these clarifiers, a lot of the poop and food particles are sinking to the bottom, and then the fats and oils float on top, and then they're skimmed off.
They drop the digested material from those digesters into those tractor trailers. They drive over to the west side to the soil amendment facility. If any of you have seen the big glaring Amazon warehouse.
Next, the wastewater travels along and enters digesters, kind of like your stomach, where bacteria and other microorganisms break down the waste that's left in that water. Something gross that Jeff told us about was that at times of year like the holidays, when people are eating a lot of fatty, oily foods, there's more oil on top of this water. Ugh. Next, the wastewater travels to these big tanks, which are secondary clarifiers, where the microorganisms are heavy enough to settle to the bottom of the water and separate out. It looks clean enough to drink, doesn't it? This water doesn't end up in our drinking water, though.
They do. From here down, they actually hire commercial divers, and they wear deep sea diving equipment. I was here when they were doing it, and it is really kind of like Jules Verne novelist kind of. It is some really cool equipment, and they use like industrial vacuum cleaner sort of stuff. They come out here once a year because I told you that there was a mercury spike. Well, they found that what was happening is some material was accreting, particularly in the ultraviolet facility, just accumulating over time, which you can imagine happens, right?
Yeah.
But they were trying to figure out why there was a sudden spike, like, and some of it just sloughed off. And so they started cleaning this stuff out annually, and that solved that problem.
It's loud in here, isn't it? In this part, UV light is actually used to break down the DNA and bacteria and other germs so it doesn't harm animals and plants when it goes back into the river. Now, all this water that you pooped in, showered in, and washed your dishes in is clean again and ready to be used to water parks and fields throughout Albuquerque. 2 to 3 million gallons of it are used in town each day in the summer. And it's also used to do things like cool the engines at our power plant. Bleach is added to it in the end, just in case it picks up some harmful things in the pipes that we don't want in the water. On my drive home from the water reclamation plant, I drove right over the Rio Grande, looking at the scenery and the water below and thinking about how a lot of it had gone through the plant and been treated so it was safe to be out in the ecosystem again. And I thought of the words that Jeff had spoken to us during our tour. The care of water is really the care of us.